Welcome to Hard Talk. I'm Zeinab Badawi. Kenya is the first country to have a sitting president and vice president tried on charges of crimes against humanity at the International Criminal Court in The Hague. They're accused of orchestrating ethnic-based violence in 2007, in which 1,200 were killed and 600,000 forced to flee their homes. They say they are not guilty. My guest today is Amina Mohamed, Kenya's foreign minister. Kenya is threatening to withdraw from the ICC, but how much damage would that do to its international reputation? Foreign Minister Amina Mohamed, welcome to Hard Talk.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Do you believe that President Uhuru Kenyatta and Vice President William Ruto of Kenya should be standing trial at the International Criminal Court, the ICC, in The Hague?
No.
Why not?
They're not guilty.
Oh, you've decided that, even before they stood trial?
Well, I've decided that because the pot of evidence that has been used in the Kenyan cases is the same for the 6 suspects that were before the court in the beginning. 3 of them have been dismissed. 3 of the cases have been dismissed. There's nothing additional that happened that could have led to the president, the deputy president being in court today.
And we also have the radio presenter Joshua Arup Sang also standing trial with William Ruto.
They're the 3 that are left, actually.
All right, but then I put it to you, you say that so categorically, but the chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, herself a former Gambian minister, Fatou Bensouda, says of William Ruto, who's standing trial right now, when she was opening the case against him, he is a powerful politician who planned the crimes to satisfy his thirst for power. She said William Ruto gathered together an army of youths to go to war for him in the event the election in 2007 was lost. When he lost that election, he gave the order to attack. That's pretty categorical.
Well, he wasn't standing for president of the republic. He wasn't.
He was contesting elections in 2007,
he was contesting
and at the time he was on the other side
as a member of parliament, and he will win that any time of the day, because he's a popular politician.
But I wasn't asking whether he was going to win the election, or I'm just putting to you.
So if he didn't lose the elections, he didn't lose the elections. It's the presidential
candidate. He was backing Raila Odinga's party at the time. Raila Odinga didn't win, and that's what she means by when he lost that election, he gave the order to attack.
Well, he didn't lose the election.
Okay, but he gave the order to attack. What about that?
He didn't. I mean, that's what the prosecution says. That's what the prosecution says. But I'll tell you, from 2008 to date, William Ruto has been on a campaign of reconciling the different Kenyan ethnic groups. He has done that relentlessly. He has done that courageously, whether it was those that were affected by the activities that went on in 2007 and 2008, or those that weren't. He made sure that all the Kenyan communities came together. He, together with our current president, right, have so much confidence of the electoral that they overwhelmingly won the next general election.
That may all be true, that they are now working for reconciliation. They won the elections in the Jubilee coalition. They have been. But the point I was putting to you is this, and my original question was, do you think they should be standing trial? You say no, they are not guilty. But you know,
they shouldn't be.
They shouldn't be.
Let me give you examples.
But why do you think then, if they shouldn't be, why is the ICC bringing this case against them?
Because it wasn't even the ICC that brought the case against them initially. It wasn't. But in any case,
hang on. Can I just get you on that? You said it wasn't the ICC who brought the case.
South Africa, Ireland, right? Crimes committed, atrocities committed. The people came together. They had a Truth and Reconciliation Commission that had nothing to do with justice. People sat around the table, right? They discussed issues. They concluded those issues. Why? Because countries must move forward.
Okay, you said it wasn't the ICC that brought this case, but you know, when the WACI, can I just say, when the WACI Commission was set up, Kofi Annan was leading mediation efforts and also the post-election reconciliation process. The WACI National Commission, looking at post-election violence, said, Kenya set up a tribunal to try and see who was responsible for those 1,200 people who died in very, very brutal circumstances, 600,000 forced to flee their homes. So that commission said, if you don't set up a tribunal and do it properly, then it's going to have to go to the ICC. And Kofi Annan said the ICC was a court that was seen as a last resort. He said there should be no doubt it was the Kenyan government's own failure to provide justice to the victims and their survivors that paved the way to the ICC.
You know, circumstances do change. Societies and communities are dynamic. What was true in 2007 is definitely not true of my country today. We have a new constitution that was promulgated in 2010. It provides for a totally reformed judiciary and a judicial process that actually can pass muster, right? We have had cases before our courts that had the confidence of the people. What was true in 2007 is definitely not true today.
So you can just change the rules, because it was all agreed at the time, President Mwai Kibaki, the Prime Minister, Raila Odinga, the Parliament, that if there was inaction on this point of trying to bring to justice those who were responsible for the killings, if there was inaction, then it would go to the ICC. And all Kenyan leaders said, fine, we'll abide by that. Now you're saying you have the right to change your minds?
No, it's not about changing minds. It's about societies moving forward. It's about societies reconciling. It's about societies, after reconciling, electing overwhelmingly those that the international community had put at The Hague. So there is a completely different set of circumstances today. And you know what? There was an envelope that was handed to Kofi Annan. It did not contain 6 names. It did not contain 6 names. They picked and chose. It was politicized from the beginning. How can it be true that they're conducting a case, right, and that they chose 6 out of an envelope of I don't know how many, and of the 6, 3 were from one side of the political divide, the other 3 were from the other side? If that is not politicizing the case, tell me what is. If they had stood up and said, listen, atrocities were committed, 1 or 2 people were responsible, these are the people, and it wouldn't have mattered from what side of the political divide they were, right? Then it would have been much easier for people to say, oh, well, you know what, this is fair, this is objective, this is right, this is a search for justice.
So you're saying, so your government's position is saying that Fatou Bensouda, the chief prosecutor at the ICC, does not really want to take this trial
No,
on.
I'm not saying that.
All right,
I'm not
because
saying
she
that.
is, and you know, and
well, you know what?
She's given interviews. I mean, she said it in an interview to the BBC
She's
just recently. She's alarmed at attempts to interfere with the witnesses. She says they're going to be reluctant for some witnesses to appear in
Shall I tell you
prosecutions.
something?
Can I finish what she said? Against a president and vice president. She's worried about reluctance of witnesses to turn up.
You know what? She actually dragged my deputy president.
She what?
He was dragged to court last week on Tuesday. Then he's informed, right, at the beginning of the hearings, oh, well, you know what? The witnesses were not able to travel, so they haven't turned up. So, you know, go away, Deputy Prime Minister, come back next week, right? How can you do that?
Deputy President,
yes,
I mean. Well, he's back, he's back. His case was adjourned, but it's now back. Okay, so...
But how would you do that? You have 5 years to prepare a case, right? Yeah. How is it possible that you can... A leader who has constitutional... Yeah. But they're hearing.
But he's standing trial. Yes. If you say he's got nothing, no case to answer, he's standing trial.
Well, because we are cooperating with the court. We committed ourselves
to cooperate. Are you cooperating with the court?
Absolutely.
You don't want to withdraw? There was a vote in the Kenyan Parliament, first step in making Kenya withdraw from the ICC.
Yes, there's a vote in the Parliament. The motion was passed. I foresee that they would repeal our act, first of all, that domesticated the Rome Statute, and obviously the next step will be withdrawal, right? But we have been there before. It's not the first time that the Parliament has passed that motion, okay?
And you know that motion was called by opponents of the President a capricious and ill-considered move. The supporters of Raila Odinga,
it's an independent, it's a democratic
party, that's what they
institution.
said about this.
It's an independent institution, it's a democratic institution, it's a parliament. Parliaments debate issues. So parliaments, you know, parliamentarians can walk out of a debate, right?
Which they did do.
Yes, which they did do. So that is their right.
So let's make this clear then. You are saying that the Kenyan government, Kenya, is going to withdraw from the ICC.
The Parliament has passed a motion.
So that's
the government has 3 arms.
That's going to happen.
Right? The Parliament has passed a motion.
You're one of 34 African countries that signed up to the ICC.
Yep.
What are the implications
With the majority.
for the rest? What are the implications then for other African countries?
Well, I think that if there's a feeling that the space that we had to cooperate with the court, right, is shrinking, and that it becomes difficult for other countries to even think of themselves in the same situation, yeah, obviously they'll need to make their own, they'll need to make their own call, and they'll need to draw their own conclusions.
But you're doing more than that. You've been spearheading efforts at lobbying. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, the chairperson of the African Union, you've been to say, look, we want the AU to say that what the ICC is doing is not correct. There's going to be an extraordinary meeting called of the AU in October to discuss the African Union's relationship with the ICC.
But that's always healthy to do. I think one should always look at their relationships, whether they are personal relationships or others. Right? I think that's important to do.
But it's
because
more than that, isn't it?
As of today, the only ones standing trial at The Hague are Africans. So why shouldn't Africa examine its relationship with the ICC?
But
After all...
Can I just say, you just say Africans, yeah, 4 out of those 8 cases refer to the ICC. It's true, they're all African. 4 out of those 8 cases were actually originated by the governments themselves. And another two were actually also sanctioned by their government. So the majority of cases are actually originated by Africans.
How does that mean that you should not examine your relationship?